today I've been writing words that the Lord gave me in a book that is literally exactly a year old. And I wanted to read you what was written a year ago. And I just want you to sit with it. May the Lord grant you the peace that you're missing and show you the pieces that you need to make your dream come to pass. This is a God dream. Strategy will come as it is needed. Pray for wisdom for all the circumstances and let God do the rest. Rest. He can do the rest. Simply be obedient. That's the next step. Just be obedient. That's the next step. Just be obedient. May He shine His face upon you both now and always. So I was searching frantically for a journal to write in as I was going into my first session today, because the Lord began to give me something and I could not find any of my journals that weren't completely written up, and I finally found this one. And one of the main things that He said again was talking about earning rest and the rest being history. What I love about the Holy Spirit is He's intentional. He's got so much integrity. His word never returns to Him void. And I am going to continue to make my way through this book with you over this week. But if the Lord's talking about the same things, a lot of times after time passes and you start to see that the Lord's still on these certain words, and that's what I love about keeping dates on the days that God gives you something, because you can always go back and see what He was talking about last year. Here's the thing, is that God is intentional. And even if He's still talking about something, don't mean that He's just reminding you, even though in many ways He is. It's also confirmation to what He's already said. And a good, real prophetic word should always be traced back to the Bible. And it should all be able to fit in what God has already promised. He promised us rest, that we'd enter into His rest, that His yoke was easy, His burden was light, that there would be a table in the presence of our enemies. And we often take out the word presence and we just think that means we're going to go on and never have to see those people again. But for God to truly fulfill His promise to you, He has to do all that He said. And you can rest in that, you know. I'm going to read you the second page because I feel like I should. This was a totally different day, maybe same day, but a different word. The Lord knows you don't know the next move. It's okay. It's all right. It's not going to be all right. It is well. He knows the next move. The Lord knows you're hurting and are unsure of how to exit the pit. All you need to know is the pit to the palace story. Joseph was hurt by almost everyone around him. The enemy worked through so many people to get to Joseph into that pit. This strategic move was glory manifesting in God's perfect time. The palace needed Joseph. He became a great leader, and all who helped him get to the pit may have worked for the enemy, but God is so powerful, His majesty so divine, that even the opposition has no idea it is free throwing three-pointers into the opposing team's basket. They treated Joseph foul, but every shot landed was a foul ball. Joseph didn't get himself out of the pit. God did. Take a nap. Breathe. Count it all joy. It all worked in Joseph's favor, for favor was always on his side. You don't need to avenge yourself, concoct a plan, or work out a self. God has a plan, and that will prove to be enough. And isn't it funny how on two totally different times and totally different days, without even seeing any of that, it's almost an identical word, but with more depth and more things added. The Lord is intentional. And if you're sitting in your situation and you're feeling like you're a little overwhelmed, whether that be your nervous system, your spirit, your flesh, your emotions, I'm telling you, firsthand proof, God is intentional. The Bible tells us that nothing He says returns to Him void. This especially goes for the Bible. And remember what I told you. Every real, true word from God is going to always line up with what He's already promised you. It's going to 360 you back to Jesus every time. The good news is still good, and all of those good things. You go make it a good night or a good day, and know that the Lord's got you in the palm of his hand. And he wants you to rest so that he can do the rest.